is your relationship with time? Are you wired and tired, stressed and overwhelmed, busy and going nowhere? Or just want to scale your business? Welcome to Take Back Time with your host, Penny Zenker. Penny focuses on books, strategies, tools, and tips to help you work smarter and approach your time more strategically. As a result, you can have more energy, focus, and get more done in less time. Be more efficient and effective. Get ready to take back time.
Hello, and welcome to Take Back Time. My name is Penny Zenker, and I'm your host. And on this show, we are looking for tips, tools, and tricks that are going to get you in a place to take back time. Okay, not really take back time, but really to be able to think and act more strategically. So today I'm excited to have Lisa Danforth with me. On paper, she's a business strategist, coach, and speaker. But for real, this is realsies, she helps women business owners and leaders, so it's okay if you're not a woman, she can help you too, identify and create the boundaries that build a bridge to creating a true work-life alignment, aka balance and fulfillment. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And she, over the course of 27 years, she's founded and operating 2 catering companies, so she knows what it is to run a business and to manage that work-life balance. It was called The Wooden Spoon and Hot Betty Barbecue, a professional cleaning company as well, and an international wholesale children's wear company, which she sold for over 35 times her initial opening investment. And for the last 4 years, she's been a business strategist. So you can see why Lisa's got some tips that's going to help you. So Lisa, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I can definitely share the tips that work and don't really work so well either.
Right. That's the benefit, right, of running all those businesses is you know what works and you know what doesn't work. So, let's dive right in. I mean, we didn't plan this, but now that I'm reading your bio, I'm curious, what's the biggest lesson that you learned from building those businesses and selling it?
That is such an excellent question. I mean, there's so many different things, but what I would say, what it boils down to, and it sounds so simple, but it's not always so easy, is just be yourself, be authentic. When we're trying to fit in and we're trying to, do those things that aren't in alignment with who we are, we're constantly struggling. So whether it's creating a new business, bringing on a team, all the relationships that we need to have within our businesses, we need to be authentic so that we are belonging instead of, as Brene Brown says, the greatest barrier to belonging is fitting in, right? Just trying to fit in. And people can sense that. And then we're always out of alignment. And there's an incongruency that makes us struggle with every single day. So it sounds very simple, but not always so easy.
So when you're building a business to be the best leader you can be is to be authentic. That means to admit mistakes, admit you don't know everything, right?
And admit when you need to pivot.
Yeah.
I think that's a really big thing. Like for me, I've had 5 different businesses. And when I've reached the point where it's taking more than it's giving me, the fulfillment and the joy is no longer there, even if it's financially, like very financially successful, to really be very authentic. And this is no longer where I want to be, instead of being defined by, like when I was a caterer for 14 years, I can't tell you how many people said to me, you can't quit catering because you're the best, right? So I was like, oh, no, watch me. But it was very hard because I had allowed it to define me as well. So that's why I stuck with it longer. So when we are very authentic with who we need and want to be and where we want to go, is when we can set the boundaries, like you mentioned in my bio, but really create the action steps and the productivity that we need to get where it is that we want to be moving to.
Yeah, well, there might be a lot of people on this show too who are in the process of building their business. And sometimes in the building, there isn't the joy, right? But does that mean it's time to pivot? So, how do you, when you're building your business, how do you create that alignment, and still be moving your business forward, right? I mean, maybe you'd like to pivot, but it's just not in the cards for you to pivot at that time, right? So how do you continue on, but still be authentic to yourself and still be creating that alignment and that, like we said, we'll come to that word balance, but that's what people have in their head, that there needs to be this balance.
Well, I think we should always have joy. If the business that you're starting is not bringing you joy at any level, I think that that's when we need to stop and look at why is it that I'm doing that? It's the clarity that we're really needing so that we can, and our bigger why. If you've read any of Simon Sinek's work whatsoever, we
Yes.
need to have a bigger why so that we know why we're saying yes to the things, which is essentially adding more work to our plate in the moment. So our balance is off, but the alignment is still there. We know where we want to head. So maybe we are working 10-hour, 12-hour days, but we're very consistent in where it is that we're headed and aligning our choices. That's the thing. So if we look at balance, oh my gosh, I'm working 12 hours a day. This is horrible. When we're very clear on our vision of where we want to head and who we need to be in order to get there, is we can connect to the joy. Like I remember staying up late, like 10 or 11 o'clock on some catering nights, just doing dishes. And I actually had joy because I knew I was building my business, even though I'd probably worked a 12 or 15-hour day. But I knew that I wanted or needed to do that to get to the level that I wanted to get to. So yes, I could have pivoted, but having that clarity about where you want to go and why you want to get there is going to allow you to make the choices that are aligned with creating the balance in the moment that works for you.
So here's, I'm just writing myself some notes. So here's what I'm understanding, and I really love what you're saying, is that a lot of people out there are seeing this word balance as the number of hours worked, right? And so that means because I'm working this many hours that I can't or don't have the time to work out, or I may be sacrificing something else. And what I'm hearing you say is stop chasing and putting judgments on that it's about the number of hours worked, and that what it really is about aligning those choices. And when your choices are aligned, you're going to feel more balanced and you can find that joy. That's what I'm hearing you say, right?
Absolutely. And here's the thing is when we are out of balance, it's so easy to stay perpetually out of balance. Like imagine yourself leaning back and someone just putting one little finger on you, you are perpetually off balance, right?
Yeah.
But here's the other thing with balance is when we're seeking balance, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm working 10-hour days or I'm working, 8-hour days, but 7 days a week. We need to get super clear on, what is it that we're working towards? Like I said, but we're creating the gap. We're sitting in where we are today and we're looking at where we want to be, which is maybe sipping Mai Tais on a beach in like a year and thinking, oh my gosh, the things that I need to do to get there, it's going to be astronomical. So we're focusing on the gap rather than, here's the thing, a goal is a place to come from, not get to. So when we can sit in the energy of being the person, creating an identity-based goal of who we need to be and sitting in the joy of that success, we can feel the success in the moment. We're not waiting for success to come to us when we finally achieve that goal. And we all know when we finally achieve that goal, it moves, right? But when we're able to do that, we can make those choices in the moment that are in aligned with where we want to go, as opposed to, again, highlighting that gap and thinking, coming from a place of lack, oh my gosh, I need to do this. I've got to add this program. I need to bring these networking events in, all of these different things, because we're focusing on the gap.
Yeah.
That's where the balance, I just think, gets completely out of whack. So when we come from the goal, feeling that who would I be in this moment? What is the choice that I would make in this moment as a woman who is making, $250,000 a year, and all of these different, I don't want to say goals, but achievements that we're looking for. Mm-hmm. Our choices are different when we're sitting in that success rather than focusing on the gap and we're out of balance. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. I mean, I talk about focus all the time, and where you focus is going to dictate the quality of your choices. It's going to dictate the quality of your experience, right? And so if you're focused on scarcity and the gap, then of course, that you're going to bring more stress to your life, right? And what you're going to experience and what you're going to get as results are completely different than if you're focused on, what it is you're looking to achieve and why that's important and all of those things. So absolutely.
When we're sitting in that stress of needing to do more and adding more to our plate and throwing us even further out of alignment, it's virtually impossible to think about the future because you're just trying to survive today. My life is so out of balance. Oh my gosh. In other words, it's this perpetual. So we're making choices from where we've been rather than where we want to be. And then it just completely keeps going over, repeating itself over and over and over again. So when we are hijacked by stress, when our amygdala doesn't know whether it's the email
Right.
or the saber-toothed tiger, we're making choices from a place of stress.
Absolutely.
And that's never a time to be creative. That's never a time to be making those choices. And it's literally impossible to look towards the future. We are looking, where's the exit? Where can I go? I mean, it's caveman days.
Yeah, right. Because we're in our reptilian brain, right? That fight, flight, or freeze mode.
Mm-hmm.
So, so that's awesome. So we're hearing that you got it in the background there, that it's about work-life alignment because balance is BS. So I understand that you have some tips for us. So let's talk about now that I get that, right? I think there's some people who now can see it in a different way. Well, wow, I've been looking and searching and fighting for balance. And of course, you're never going to find it because it doesn't exist in the way that people are looking for it. So if I understand that my focus is on alignment, let's talk about, I think you said there were 3 things that can help people to find that alignment and find more joy and be in a better place in their life with that. So let's talk about that.
So the top one really is clarity, slowing down to gain clarity. And the sad thing is so many people that I speak with, work with, talk to, because I love getting out and speaking, is I don't have the luxury to slow down. And my thing is that's like going down the highway at 150 miles an hour saying, I don't really have time to stop for gas. Like,
Right.
Guess what's going to happen? You better hope you have AAA. So it's really slowing down in order to speed up. It's just like in archery. So often we need to step back, take aim in order to catapult forward and hit our target, right?
Right.
So we need to slow down and be able to gain that clarity of where it is that we want to go and who it is that we want to be, who we need to be in order to get there. It's not a luxury. How do you determine what your goals are? How do you determine how to prioritize your actions so that you can be productive in the moment? I love Gary Keller has this, it's not necessarily a quote, but he asks, why do we have goals? And everyone's like, to achieve to make money, whatever it might be. And his thing is, a goal is to be appropriate in the moment so that we can make appropriate choices in the moment, which I absolutely love. But in order to be appropriate in the moment, to move us closer to the success that we seek, and I want to say success according to what success is to you,
right?
Not what others want, need, or demand from you. But in order to be appropriate in the moment, we need to know where we're headed. Creating a business is no different than, driving from, I'm in Vermont, down to Texas. I'm going to take my GPS and I need to know where I'm at. I need to know where I'm going so that I can create a map. Clarity is just how you're going to get it. So slow down and really take some time to figure it out. There's a ton of tools on gaining clarity. I'm certainly happy to answer any questions on that. The second one, which
before we do that, let's share a quick tool because I think that, I think they get that, right? But like you said, there's those excuses that come up that say, I can't slow down, I can't gain clarity, or, or I think I have clarity. So
right. That's often what happens.
Right. So I'm 100% in agreement. Clarity is critical. And I think if people really think about it, that's why planning is clarity, right? And it's a part of that process. And like you said, connecting with the why each and every day about why you do things is helping you to get clarity. And those are just tools too that I just said. But what's the tool that you recommend most to help people to put that into action?
It's an excellent question. And I'm just going to say everyone is different. One thing that I can say can just make someone just spill it. And other ones are like, I don't know. One of the things that I really love to do is when I'm sitting down with a client and we're mapping it out, it's one of the first things that I do is I sit down and say, okay, so we've had our time together. We've been coaching. And then you give me a call 3 years from now. And I answer the phone. You're like, oh my gosh, Lisa, you wouldn't believe what the last 3 years have been like. So sitting down and imagining where you would like to be in 3 years. It's even a year at the end of 2020. Sometimes it is hard to envision it out too far. But to just talk about literally out loud, I love using my app on my phone. My notes, it'll record and transcribe. So it'll have it all down. Then I can send it to my email. But I'll just sit there and talk through, in 3 years, I can't believe it. I thought that all I wanted to be making was this, or the clients, or the impact, but this is what I'm doing. This is where I am. And actually talking it through and connecting to it emotionally. We do things because of our emotions and because of our feelings. We can be thinking we need to do something, but it's the emotion that compels us into action. So talk it through just to sort of play around with it and see what connects. And you'll see there's certain things, then you're going to start going down this path and talking about it, and you're going to get excited.
And what comes up is not necessarily what you thought, right? So that's your assignment if you're listening, is to help you to gain greater clarity, whether you think you have it or not, whether you have goals written down or not. This can help you with the process, or it can further deepen the process. Is do that. Turn on your phone onto record and pretend like you're talking to a friend that you haven't seen for a year, and tell them about all that you've achieved and how excited you are about it and how you got there and why it was important and what's different in your life. And so that is a great exercise. And I'm excited for, to hear back from people. So hopefully they'll let us know what that did for them. So that's awesome. Thank you. And I'm sure you've got a ton of those tips and tools that, we're going to send them to your website to check out more about you as well down the road.
Yeah. And then just to add to that very quickly, then turn that up a notch. What would it look like 25% more? Right?
Yeah.
So just kind of play around with it. And we get into action because of our thoughts. So we need to be thinking about what it is that we want to do. So just play around.
Absolutely.
Don't get focused on the how am I going to do it, because that's going to stop it right there. Just play, right? So the second tip that I truly recommend is looking at your identity, looking at your self-image. We will not do anything that is inconsistent with who we believe ourselves to be, right? I like to say, we all know someone around us, whether it's a friend or a colleague or a family member, that's not living up to their full or true potential because of their belief about themselves. Same thing as for us. We just don't see it quite as well, right? So really looking at what is our self-image, because our image defines our actions of what we'll do or what we just simply won't do. So we might start doing something, but then we create this goal, and we might do one or two actions to move towards it, but then we kind of fall back. So really
sabotage.
Oh my, yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's what that is.
Right.
When we stop, it's because we don't see ourselves in that place, right? Oh, I'm not $1 million earner, so I'm just going to, and we don't think about it. It's unconscious, but we unconsciously sabotage ourselves. So absolutely, that's our
right. So once we've set this goal and we don't follow through with the habits that we want to follow through on, then we lose belief in ourselves, and then we just stop, right? So it's one thing to say, I'm a person who wants this. It's another thing for a person to say, I am this, because we live into who we believe we are. And those habits, you need to start very slowly and small in order to create the habits for the identity that you are moving towards.
So as it relates to work-life alignment, right? Because that can go across various different aspects of that identity. I mean, you're speaking my language. I love this stuff. So let's help people understand. So what is it that's going to be that action for them to get more into their work-life alignment with that identity or with those habits?
So often we put things on our plate because we feel we should do that. I should be good at this. I should be good at that. I should add this. I should want this. But we don't look at what our identity is. And our identity creates our habits, and our habits define our identity, right? Our self-image. So one of the things to really look at are what are one or two habits that you could implement that would lay the foundation for that image, that identity that you want and need in order to be that person that you want to be. And again, this sort of comes back to a goal is a place to come from, not get to. So as a person who is healthy, my choice in the moment would be the salad and not the pizza. As a person who is looking to increase my sales by 50%, is going to be picking up the phone and making those sales calls and not watching cat videos on Facebook. And the more that we do that, and the more that we cast the votes towards that identity, we're creating the habits that allow us to define what does alignment look like to us. So the aligned action for where we're headed is choosing to pick up the phone. The aligned action is, I don't want to go to the networking event tonight, but you know what? This is who I am, and this is the goal that I want, so I'm going to go and do it. Now, I may only walk in and stay for 5 minutes, but I'm going to get myself there. And then once you're there, you're probably going to stay for longer. There's many different avenues. Just get the ball rolling so that you're aligning your actions to the goals in the moment so that you can be appropriate in the moment and step forward in aligning your actions who you want and need to be.
Okay, awesome. So I like the second, I love talking about identity, but I do think for some people it's like, that's too like heavy, that's too deep, that's too much. Like,
but we've
all down. So I like what you said about to bring it down into what it is aligning our choices, right? The goals that we set and our choices. And so it's the actions that we're taking, those habits. And when we take actions that are going to align with what's important to us, our health, and doing the thing that's right for us versus the thing that's easiest, right? That's the problem is we default to what's easy.
Even if it's not creating the success we want.
Exactly. So that's where, I think that makes the connection for people to understand. That's how we reinforce the identity that we want to be at that level of reaching that goal, that we might not be fully stepping into that, but that's how we do that is through our actions and our choices.
Right. We're aligning it. And I mean, how many of us have said, oh, I'm horrible at time, right? I'm horrible at productivity. I'm horrible at math. I'm horrible at writing. I am. Therefore, we live. So our thoughts at the beginning of an action, right? Our thoughts at the beginning of an action directly impact the outcome of the activity and the action that we're about to take. So really looking at what is my belief? Do I really believe I'm horrible at writing? And if so, if I know I need to do it, then what are the skill sets that I need to get myself more adept at it? And then really aligning my actions to where I want to go.
So what I love is there's the tool, right? That let's use that as the tool for everybody is what's the thought that happens right before you take action? Is it empowering you to take and make the right choice and the best choice? Or is it giving you the easiest direction, right? And so one of the things that I might suggest here is I just had a client do this where he has a jar and he puts money in the jar every time it's a disempowering thought. And that way he can see what it's really costing him. I mean, yes, you'll see in terms of your results, but it's kind of fun to see it as the jar, piles up for you to be able to actually also see, in terms of money, what it's costing you. So
it's also fun to say it out loud.
Do that.
It's really helpful to say it out loud. I'm not going to go to the networking event this evening because I just don't feel like it. And I'm going to sit on the sofa and have some popcorn and watch a movie. You're like,
oh yeah, that's a good one. How does that make you feel?
It's a little uncomfortable, right? It makes you look in the mirror when you just say it out loud. This is where we get tripped up, I find, is very simple. Very, very simple.
Yep.
Smoking kills you, right?
Right.
So why do we smoke?
Time.
It's just not easy.
Yes.
And that's where we get tripped up. And that's where we need to shift our identity and how we're showing up and aligning our actions. So, yeah.
Right. And I think the interesting thing is too about those choices is that when we make the choices that are good for us, we feel good afterwards. And so this is a way to know if you're not making good choices. We feel bad after we make a choice that's easy but doesn't get us the result we want, right? And then we beat ourselves up. And then we do it again and again and again.
We keep doing the things that we don't want to do, keep getting the results that we don't want to get, and we can't figure out what's going on. Our brain actually releases a chemical when we check something off from our to-do list. Have you ever written something on your to-do list after you've actually done it just to check it off? I mean,
I haven't, but I know people who do that, right? So
it literally releases a chemical in our brain that makes us want to do more.
Dopamine.
Right? It's just like putting on your sneakers to go out for a walk and just saying, I'm just going to do 2 minutes, but feeling that dopamine and you're like, I'm going to do a half an hour.
Yeah, because it makes you feel good. Absolutely. So what's the third thing? And then we'll wrap up and let people know where they can talk to you further.
So the third thing that I would say is taking your clarity and understanding, what your choices are, time chunking. So what I like to do is either Friday afternoon or Sunday evening, I'll sit down and I will time chunk out. So, let me back up just a second. I actually color code and time chunk out my weeks on my Google Calendar. So I'm working on my CRM, my customer relationship management. These, Tuesdays and Thursdays are the days that I'm working with my clients. Mondays and Fridays are admin. All of these different things. When I know where I want to go, then I gain clarity on the action steps that I need to have. So I make sure that the color coding and the time chunks, however you want to do it on my calendar, are aligned to the prioritization of the actions that I need to take. So often the urgent gets put to the front burner and the important gets put on the back. But when we have clarity and we can look at our calendar and say, I'm not working on that today, it allows us to say no to adding more to our plate so that we know that the actions that we're taking are moving us closer to our goal. And then I literally keep a little scratch pad just to the side of my computer when something, either an idea pops up or I need to reply to an email, and I take it out of my head and I plop it down. And if there's time at the end of the day or the end of the week, then I will go through and do it. But I'm prioritizing my actions in order to achieve what we want. I don't know about you, but a lot of the people that I work with are entrepreneurs. We tend to be somewhat creative, and they're like, I don't like structure. My thing is structure equals freedom. How many people do you know that have the structures in their lives and they actually have the freedom to do the things that they want to do? But those of us who don't have the structure in our lives, we're constantly short on time, short on money, short on the emotional feeling of success, right? So structure equals freedom. Take some time, slow down, fill up your gas tank, gain the clarity, figure out what the prioritization is, like what you need to do to be appropriate in the moment. Time to chunk that out.
That's awesome. I feel like I'm listening to myself. So I'm smiling here because, we use a lot of similar phrases but that just goes to show you best practices are best practices, right? And they don't need to be created here. It doesn't have to be something new. These things work, people. So that's it. This is really, really good stuff. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and in such an inspiring way. So tell people where they can reach you.
So you can go to my website, which is just lisadanforth.com, or LinkedIn is where I do most of my social media, and that's just at Lisa Danforth. I like to keep things nice and simple. Or if you want to email me, it's lisa@lisadanforth.com.
Perfect. I do want to ask you, I didn't ask you yet, so I hope you have another minute or two. I wanted to ask you what, people are always looking for some tools and some things that may support them electronically or by paper. What are your, top 2 tools that you can't live without?
My top one is my CRM, my customer relationship management tool. So what I love about that is it helps me look good, to be honest with you. Like when I meet people, whether it's out networking or maybe I've met with someone who said, I really would love to meet with you, but we're selling our house and I can't even think about it until June. I go home, I write down all the details of the conversation, I enter all the contact information into my CRM and then create a task to follow back up. So I've taken all of the information out of my head, I've plopped it into my notes, so when it's time to pick up the phone, instead of, who is that I was supposed to get back with in June? I can't remember, right?
Right.
I've got all of the information. Maybe she was moving to, southern Vermont, but she was traveling to France in between and whatnot. I can come back in like I'm just picking up the conversation and I've had all that information right at my fingertips. But I haven't, and it may sound awful, but I haven't thought about it much, for months. But what I did do was set myself up for success so that I can serve her at the level that she needs to be served at by utilizing my CRM.
Absolutely. And you have that reminder because you already put that task in to remind you in 3 months that you need to make that call. What tool is it that you use for CRM?
I use Pipedrive.
Pipedrive. Haven't heard of that one.
It's $15 a month. Less Annoying CRM, LACRM is also another one. I don't like it quite as much because it's not as visual, which for me is more compelling. Yeah. And that's $10 a month. And if you want like the creme de la creme, Nimble is the one which connects all of the social media and all of those things.
Right. There's so many great tools, right? I use HubSpot. It's free and it also provides me with a lot of integration with other tools and things. So I think there's a ton of different tools out there. I think the key is like you said, is that, I wanted people to know what you're using and then also, why you're using it and what's great about it. Is there anything else that you'd want to share as a tool that you think would be really beneficial for the group?
I love this tool. It's called Asana. It's a project management software. It's free. You can actually bring people into a project that you have. You can have different workspaces. So I have my private workspace. I have my business workspace. I'm on the leadership team for the eWomen Network Burlington chapter. So we've got that workspace. So everything is separate and you can really break things down into activities. So let's say each January you start a 5-day challenge. So you can basically copy it each year, put your notes in, so you don't have to be reinventing the wheel every single time.
You can use templates, right? There's like project templates you can use in Asana. It's really, really good.
And you can assign dates, you can assign names. And what I also love is each individual project has its own email address. So like if you go into my contact list, I've got several Asana dot whatever. So when an email comes in, I start typing Asana, it'll have the list. I'll click on the one that's appropriate and it will immediately drop it into that project. And then I can go through and sort it. So
awesome.
it's so easy and it's free. There is a paid version, but you don't need, until you get huge, you don't need that. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that's another key thing is there's a lot of great free tools. And I just want to put out there, I do ask people, like yourself, what tools are out there. And for those of you listening, you're going to get some great tool ideas, but remember that it's not about the tool. It's about the process that you create in using the tool. So don't go tool happy and jump from this tool to that tool because you think it has a few more features or whatnot. It's not working, not because of the tool, but because of the way you're using it.
It's the habits that we have. We need to start creating the consistent habits that reinforce us as a person who uses the CRM, stays consistent with our clients, potential clients, whatnot.
Totally. That's great. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with our audience before we close out today's session?
No, not really. I mean, other than stay authentic, trust yourself, trust your gut. You know what you need most. So really, if you're ever at a crossroads of what your decision needs to be, how to be appropriate in the moment, just slow down and really listen to yourself. I've never known anyone who, when they do that their choices are wrong.
Right. Awesome. Well, thanks, Lisa. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much. This was a lot of fun. Thank you.
My pleasure. And thank you guys for being here because you're an important part of this process. And of course, we would love to hear your feedback, especially when you put these things into practice and hear how they worked for you. And, the other thing that's great is when something works for you, share it. Just like you're going to share this podcast with your friends to tell them that you learned a couple great tools, you learned some great tips. That's what this is all about. Help us to grow the community so that we can better serve you. So my name is Penny Zenker, and I'm your host. This is Take Back Time, and we will see you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening. Today's topic is another opportunity for you to put the knowledge you learned into practice. Tune in again next week for more strategies that will help you have more energy and focus to get more done in less time, so you can continue to take back time.